What up, boys? Welcome to the video. Hope everybody's doing great. Today we're doing our first episode on a new series I'm starting called How To, where we go over how to play characters to their best ability and get the most out of their kits. How to play characters, basically. I also plan on going over just like basic Apex game sense, or just how to play Apex in general, but that's going to be a future video. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about how to play Rev, boys. That's right, the character right now, man. So we're going to start out with some more beginner, easier tips with Rev, and then towards the end of the video, we're going to be getting into some more advanced, harder to utilize, harder to pull off tips, but still useful if you can learn them. And for these tips or techs, advice, whatever you want to call it, we're going to be showing some clips and breaking down what I talk about so you guys can actually see what I mean in an actual game. And also, real quick, before we get into it, if you haven't watched my latest video, go give it a watch. I promise you'll love it. It's really funny. Thank you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty, boys. So our first tip is alt usage, alt utility, how to use your alt. It seems like a really simple one, but I still see a lot of revs mess it up. I'll see a lot of revs pop their alt too early and just allow a team to disengage, or they'll take a bunch of damage in the fight already and then alt, which are both pretty bad uses of the alt. The best time to use your rev alt is right before you're about to swing into a team. Not too early, not too late, right before you're about to swing in. So like during the poke phase of a fight, if you get a bunch of big damage, or even if you knock a guy, you want to pop your alt and then swing right in, either running in or pouncing into your target. Ideally, you want to run in rather than pounce in, just because you always want to have your pounce up in case you need to get out of a bad spot quick. And also, do not feel like it's a waste to pop rev alt to get away from a fight in order to survive. I can't even count how many times I popped rev alt to escape the fight, and it actually made the difference in the fight and allowed for me to escape and live. Again, pretty simple stuff here, but I still see a lot of revs mess it up, so I figured we'd talk about it regardless. Let's take a look at a clip to see what I'm talking about. Here, we're walking up to a fight to third party. It's an absolute mess in here. We hear a knock. I pop my ult as I'm about to swing to the door. Pop in. It's just carnage. Get a knock here. Look for more, but I realize this is a dangerous challenge, so I pull out to regroup on the roof and look for a better challenge, as well as let my overshield recharge. Drop back in. Get some damage. Alright, snub on one in here. Two one-shot in here. I see this fuses one shot thanks to Rev's passive. Get an overshield refresh. Drop in. Get another knock and overshield refresh. Could be last one. That guy's flash. That guy's flash. Yeah, last one. Last guy get beamed. So instead of risking the 1v1, I play it safe, wait for my teammates to get closer. But he just swings me and I win anyway. This clip really shows how insane the overshield refreshes can be. I got like 300 health of overshield in this fight. Absolutely insane. For our second tip, we're going to be talking about how to use Rev's passives. The easier of his passives to use is the one that shows you when someone's weak. I don't know the name of it, but that one. It can help you with target priority, as you've seen in the last clip. You can tell if someone got rezzed. It can give you info on how developed a fight is if you're going to third party it. It's so useful. It's so useful. And his second and third passives are his wall climb and his crouching. His wall climb is really good for getting info on a team. Usually before you start a fight, you can climb up into a weird spot and you can see where people are, what characters they have, if they're fighting, how weak they are, if they're batting. You can get a lot of info from Rev's wall climb. And his climb is also really good at getting sneaky angles, usually to start a fight, but sometimes you can climb into a weird angle in the middle of a fight and completely catch people off guard. And his climb is really quiet too, so a lot of times people won't even realize you climbed somewhere. I'll show you a couple clips real quick to see what I mean. Here I'm walking up, about to get into a fight, and I realize that this box I'm about to peek is a complete 50-50 challenge. So instead I climb the box and crouch. The fuse doesn't even hear me climb up on the box and just absolutely obliterate it for it. You can also use this climb to completely juke out enemies or escape fights. It definitely takes some time and creativity to learn how you can do so, but it's definitely worth the effort. Look at this angle, though. But look at this angle. Good luck hitting me in this. I'm terrible. Crack their skid suit shield, and now we ninja vanish again, eh? And on to Rev's final passive, his Crouch. It can be so good if you use it at the right times. I feel like I barely see other Revs use it, and I have no idea why. There's a lot to break down with Rev's Crouch, so we're going to go over how to use it in a fight and out of a fight. Now, for using it in a fight, there's not as much you can do as you can outside of a fight, but you can definitely still make some good plays with it in a fight. You can use it to make a mean head glitch while you're on high ground, like if you're looking over a building, instead of just peeking over the building at your enemy, you can use your crouch to have a nastier angle and a much harder to hit strafe. Look at this clip real quick. Notice how I'm playing this angle with the crouch, strafing left and right with the crouch, but also popping in and out of the angle at slightly different spots to throw off the enemy. Let's take a look at it from the enemy's POV. You'll notice I'm basically invisible at some points during this fight, and even in the parts where I am visible, it's either very hard to hit due to the strafe left and right, or it's for such a small window because I'm dipping back out of the angle for a second. Good luck fighting this, dude. And now for how to use Rev Crouch out of the fight, which is the better use case for it, in my opinion. The best part about it is being sneaky and using it to start a fight. Before every fight, if you can, you really should try to crouch walk up onto an enemy. Even if you're going to be thirding a fight, you can get really close to the fight and get info on how many knocks there is. Or your other passive that goes off when someone's weak might proc, giving you even more info. You can get a lot of info on your enemies from crouch walking. But you can also usually get a lot of damage to start the fight. You can coordinate a 3-2-1 on a guy, or even just knock them yourself to start the fight if they have no idea where you are, and at that point, it's usually already over. To the clip. I'll just let this one speak for itself.
Yes.
What the hell?
Quite a journey to the ring, and it closes in 45
Kid walking
seconds.
out of it right now. Kid walking out.
Out of the vault?
Yeah, he's going up there. 1, 2.
Oh,
Third
yeah,
one's
yep.
lagging. Third one's lagging. It's a lifeline. We can probably kill this kid. He's looting still. Still looting. I'm creeping hard.
Hey,
I'm gonna murder this kid in probably 10 seconds. He's like on the med bin.
yeah, he's like right here.
Extended supply bin there
Yeah,
for
I'm
y'all.
creeping.
The champ
Yeah.
is
There you
eliminated.
go.
The biggest piece is off the board.
Yeah, right here in the open. One bullet. Literally a bullet. I know this could be considered kind of ratty, but hey, it's all fair game, dude, and it's their fault for not ratting themselves, alright? And let's be honest, if you're playing Rev, you really should be ratting. He's the best rat character in the game, which takes me to our next tip, ratting, boys.
Oh, shit! A rat!
Now, there isn't much to cover here about how to rat. It's pretty simple, right? Just sit there. So what we're going to do is just go through a bunch of spots for you guys to memorize for the next time you guys are in a last man standing situation and need somewhere to rat. Into the spots, boys. For our first spot, we're starting on World's Edge with a sneaky little cliff spot to the northeast of Harvester, heading into the no-name location. This spot can be hard to remember exactly where you have to sit. Just get to the top and then look out for the little rock jutting out of the side. Next, we're heading over to Epicenter. You can actually wedge yourself in this icicle and be completely hidden. And for our last World's Edge spot, we're going all the way to Stacks inside the cave that has the vault. This spot is so hidden, you're never getting seen in this one. And onto King's Canyon. There's actually not that many spots on this map that I know of, but there's a few really good ones. The first one is over here north of Runoff, west of the pit. And this spot is the perfect example of hidden in plain sight. I mean, you're completely exposed from all sides here, but still, I've hid here dozens of times, and I've only been busted in the spot one time ever, so it definitely works. And also, a quick note about the other taller rock next to this spot. You can hide on the side of this one as well, but you can actually climb this rock all the way to the top. Now, you can't stay up here, but you get about 10 seconds to look around and gather info about basically the whole map. So if you ever find yourself in this part of the map, even if you're not ratting, it's definitely worth just climbing up on this rock and just taking a look around to see what you see. And our other spot/spots on this map is the pine trees. You can climb to the tippy top of almost every single one of these trees on the map. No one ever checks them. They're basically everywhere on this map too, so if you need a quick getaway, sometimes you can just scurry right up these in the middle of a fight and people will have no idea where you went. Or, you know, if your teammates died, no support character, their banner's expired, you can just pop a squad up here super early too if you need to. On to Olympus. I honestly don't know like any great rat spots on this map, but I do know about the trees. You can climb in just about every one of these pink trees on the map, as well as these green ones. They're pretty common around the map as well, so you don't really need any other rat spots if you can just get to one of these. Really solid. And for our last map, Broken Moon. Again, I don't really know that many spots on this map, but there is trees, boys. And these are the best trees out of any map. They're super, super tall. You're basically invisible in these trees. And they're literally everywhere on the map. Do you really need any other rat spots on this map when these trees exist? Alrighty, we're finally through the rat spots. Back into the tips. For our next tip, we're going to be talking about Rev's hitbox and how to use it to your advantage. Most players consider his hitbox a downside because characters like him and Pathy are built like actual fridges. And usually they're right, it is a downside. But there is actually an upside to their models. Their height. There are so many angles that only characters like Rev and Pathy can use due to their height that are extremely effective. Not only because they're just insane angles, but also people won't be expecting them because they aren't commonly used. I'll show you guys a few of these angles, but there's so many angles like this out there that you're just going to have to find them. Basically, whenever you're in a fight, look for a spot where you can barely look over something to see your enemy. If you're a player like me with good aim but not an absolute beamer, then knowing these angles can really help you beat more mechanically skilled players. And if you are one of those absolute beamers yourself, then even better for you to add this to your arsenal. For our first angle, we're at Energy Depot on Olympus. This angle is so disgusting. You're almost unkillable in this spot. Your head is the only thing showing, and it's such a tiny bit of it that it's basically impossible to die here. There's actually another box right in front of me that has this exact same angle as well. So you can use either one here, whatever works. One of my favorites for sure. Quick little angle to go over is on the back of supply bins. Any supply bin on any map with something behind it for you to stand on lets you have a stupid angle over the top of it. Keep your eyes peeled for these ones. Our next angle is at these ships. These are great spots to be as Rev. You can climb up the side of them to the top and have a crazy angle from either side of it. These are fairly common too, actually. Olympus has quite a few of these ships spread around the map, and there's a few on Broken Moon as well. Another quick little spot is on Broken Moon. Any of these boxes like this on this map can be used as a gross head glitch for Rev. This spot won this fight for me single-handedly. Keep your eyes peeled for these ones. There is also downsides to Rev being super tall, like not being able to use some angles as well as other characters. But if you learn where the angles are that he can use and quickly position yourself there, these angles will help you massively in a lot of fights. If you can get them down in your memory, then when you think you'll be getting in a fight at a POI, you can try to jump straight into one of these angles for a fight and might just win from doing so. And on to our final Rev tip, and the most advanced is the wall bounce. Now this tech is not easy to pull off and takes a lot of practice to master, especially as a controller player, but it becomes one of the best ways to move in the whole game once you get it down. The easiest way I can explain how to do it is to try to line yourself up as parallel as possible with the wall you plan on bouncing off of, then jump as close to the wall as you can. And as you reach the peak of your pounce, you want to wall run on the wall and immediately jump off. This will allow you to keep your pounce momentum even further after you jump off the wall. It's usually best to just use this tech to escape, but you can also use it to be aggressive and catch a guy trying to run away. I sadly don't have any clips of it being used aggressively, but I've done it a few times. It's just very situational. But I do have some clips of how it looks from the enemy's POV when you're jumping away. Let's take a look. Looking at it from my POV first here, you can see I line up parallel to the wall, hit the jump. Right before I start to lose height, I grab the wall and jump off quick. And from the enemy's POV, I get beamed here. But because I hit the wall bounce, I was able to cover so much more distance and get to safety. Another example here, we got cooked in this fight, but I was able to hit a wall bounce to get out and completely outdistance a Pathy grapple, so it definitely can make the difference. If you want to get even crazier with the pounce, you can transfer the momentum from it into a wall climb as well to throw off your enemies even harder. One final thing I'd like to mention is that I strongly encourage you to try to Sentinel on Rev if you haven't. If you can factor in all the tech that we just talked about, especially the crouching and climbing into weird spots, you can become an absolute menace to the lobby. Sentinel has quickly become one of my favorite guns to use on Rev. Definitely give it a go next time you see it. And that's it for our first episode of How To. Let me know what you thought of it and what character you'd like to see next. Also, I'm live almost every single day on Twitch at Shish Kebab. Pop in sometime. Hit that like if you liked the video. Hit that sub. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Deuces.